channel. I am finally feeling better, and I actually did my hair and makeup for this episode, so you're welcome. I have made a few copycat recipes on this channel for restaurants, like, which ones did I do? I did, I'm blanking. I did kind of like an In-N-Out, but that was more like a gourmet style, but the animal fries were spot on. I also did a lot of burgers. I also did the White Castle burgers. It's like munchies from the movies. That was also a copycat recipe. And then we have the Hershey's Golden Bar as a copycat recipe. I've been trying to think of restaurants that are like no-goes for vegans and try to veganize them. And one of them obviously is Red Lobster, because everything has pretty much seafood or dairy in it. So I decided to see if I can veganize a couple recipes that I found that are copycat recipes. But it should be pretty good. I'm really excited to try it with you guys, so let's see how we go. But I've made the Cheddar Bay Biscuits before, and they turned out amazing, so I'm excited to make them again with you, and they're actually pretty easy to make. I am all over the place. I had caffeine today, so obviously I'm a little on edge. Let's start with the biscuits, because they're probably going to take a little bit to bake, and we want them to cool down by the time we eat our food. So our menu today are the Cheddar Bay Biscuits, and then I'm going to try and make a Lobster Bisque, because I have these vegan prawns that I got from a vegan store in Berkeley. So this should be a really good substitution for lobster, I think. But a lot of people online seem to be using red mushrooms, but I don't have any in my area. I haven't found any. So I'm going to go ahead and do it with these. But obviously these might be hard to come by too. So definitely keep red mushrooms. I think they're called Red Lobster mushrooms. Ooh, I'm like falling. I'm just trying to be different, and I couldn't find these Red Lobster mushrooms. So I think this will be good enough. So let's go ahead and get started with our biscuits. Let's get the oven preheated to 400 degrees. So we're going to start with Bisquick, which is vegan, by the way, which is a nice option. So we're gonna do, I think, 2.5 cups of this. Let's see. I'll actually follow this. I never follow the actual like measuring things for this bowl. So it looks like I'll just do it up to there. And that's a solid, a little bit more. There we go. Then you want cold butter. You want to make sure it is like fresh out of the fridge cold. So I didn't pull it out yet. And I'm going to be using this coconut oil butter substitute, and this will be perfect for it. So we're going to need 4 tablespoons of cold butter. And we're just going to drop that in there. And the reason you want the butter to be cold, it makes the biscuits extra flaky. So I'm not just talking out of my ass. It's important. You want some flaky ass biscuits, right? And it's okay to get your hands dirty, because you're going to be using your hands to mix it. I find it's the best way to incorporate the butter. So you're going to go ahead and mix it with the Bisquick. And you don't want it to be completely mixed up. The butter's going to kind of turn into like little pebbles. And that's exactly the consistency that you're looking for. So you're just going to kind of push this together. Whew, it's messy, but you can this helps too, to get the butter off your hands, just rubbing them together. And they'll turn into pebbles when you do that too, so it's a win-win situation. And I'm making a complete mess, but it's okay, we'll clean up after making the biscuits. Ooh, do our bisque in a clean environment. This is bad. Just get some of this back in the bowl, because I just sanitized my counter. So you don't have to waste any. It's kind of hard because the light from the window's coming through. But you can see that it's all crumbly now, and that's the consistency that we want to go for, so this is perfect. I didn't do well in my baking class in culinary school, to be honest, but I can make a good-ass biscuit. So, now that it's all crumbled, we're going to add our ice-cooled milk. Well, it doesn't need to be ice-cold, but straight from the fridge, same with the butter, you want everything to be pretty cold. So just use an unsweetened milk. I'm going to be using this almond imitation milk pretty much. And we need 3/4 of a cup or 3/4 of a cup. Mix that in there. We're going to also be adding a cup of vegan cheese. I like follow your heart for this because it melts really well. That's all all I had in there was a cup. And then you want to add some garlic powder if you have it. I don't have straight up garlic powder, so I'm just going to use some garlic salt, which is fine. It will just make it a little bit more salty, which is okay, whatever. And you're going to do about a 1/4 teaspoon of that. So then we're just going to mix this. I'm probably going to go in with my hands in a second, but I'm just going to try and mix this together first with a spatula. Yeah, it's not happening. I'm going to have to go in with my hands. It's going to be sticky. Don't worry about it. You don't want like a dry consistency at all. And the oven's ready, yay! Perfect timing because we're almost done mixing this. Just trying to make sure all the flour is getting mixed into the mixture. Should be pretty good. There's some extra flour at the bottom, but it is getting a little too dry. So I'm just gonna leave it. So make sure that you're either greasing the baking sheet, or you have some trusty parchment paper. So we're gonna do that. I totally forgot these were in here. Parchment paper is getting a little crispy. That's okay. So I'm just gonna be taking like a serving spoon, or maybe it's just a regular spoon. You're gonna just be getting some balls of it and putting it on the tray. There's so much cheese in here. It's gonna be so good. I'm making mine a little bit bigger. You can make them whatever size you want. And just be careful about the baking time. Okay, I'm gonna put this one in the oven. Put the rest on this one. Okay, so we're gonna just toss those in the oven for 15 minutes. Oh my god, the lighting situation is so shitty! So let's go ahead and get started on the Lobster Bisque. So you're gonna wanna take half a cup of raw cashews and just soak them overnight, or you can boil water and then have them soak for a few hours and that'll be fine. So we're gonna go ahead and add this. So they're drained, so we're gonna just toss those in here. And you can go ahead and double the recipe just because it's only a little meaty. I'm just having this recipe. So we got our half a cup of cashews. We're also gonna throw in some bouillon, or if you have just regular veggie stock, you would toss that in now. And we only need about half a cup of veggie broth. Unless you're doubling the recipe, then you need a cup. A little teensy. Wait, gonna add like half a cup of water. Okay. And then you want some kelp powder. I don't have kelp powder, so I've heard you can take nori sheets, so like sushi, like seaweed sheets, and then grind it up. And it more comes out like flakes. But you only need about half a teaspoon of these. I'm just gonna throw that in here I'm just gonna throw them in here with the cashews and the broth. And depending on how fishy you want it, you can add more to suit your taste. And then you're gonna add some cornstarch. Do about a half a teaspoon cornstarch. Oop. There we go. It smells super like seaweedy now. Seaweedy. And then we're going to blend this. And you want it to be really smooth, so let's try and do it for a couple minutes. As long as that sounds, we want it to be as smooth as possible. It's wet. I just washed it, so it's a little slippery, and I got the lid on too tight. Okay, it's coming. It's coming! Okay. Let's see if it's smooth enough. And it looks pretty good. So you can tell it's pretty silky. You can't really tell in here, especially because the freaking light. Freaking window. So if you can see, you don't see any lumps, so this is perfect. I'm gonna set this aside. Okay, so I got a Dutch oven here. I don't think a Dutch oven is totally necessary. I just wanted like a nice pot for this. Let's go ahead. I'm gonna start warming this up, and I'm gonna add a little bit of water. I think about like, let's try a 1/4 cup of water now. Ooh, the biscuits are ready. My biscuits are not burning, so we're in good. Okay, I got you. So I'm adding a half a cup of water. I might need to do more, but for now this is fine. And then I'm gonna add my mix here. So I have 2 stalks of celery diced up. Underneath I have 1 onion diced up, and but it was a pretty small onion, so keep that in mind. And then 2 garlic cloves, and we're just gonna add that in there so we can let them sweat in the water. I've been trying to do more recipes without oil. That's why I'm not using oil in this. I'm just trying to use water just to make it a little bit more healthy. And you could also add carrots with this stuff too. I just didn't have any, but it probably would be a little bit more authentic if you add some carrots. You wouldn't need much though, maybe just like 1 carrot. Dice that up and add this and make it a mirepoix. If you don't know what a mirepoix is, it's a mixture of celery, onions, and carrot. And it's usually like the base of a lot of recipes. So there's your little culinary school trip. A little trick of the day. Now that these are swept down a little bit more, they're a little bit more, what's it called? Translucent is the word. Now I can go ahead and add some tomato paste. I am going to use a tablespoon, but of course if you're doubling the recipe, go ahead and use 2. I'm going to do a nice heaping tablespoon here though. So toss that in. And then you want to make sure that all the veggies are kind of like mixed in it, and we're going to caramelize the tomatoes a little bit. I don't know if that helps. And it's okay if bits start to get stuck to the bottom because we're going to deglaze this with some white wine. Make sure the wine is vegan, folks. I know a lot of people don't know this, but wine isn't always vegan. Actually, most of the time it's not. What is super helpful is going online to, I think it's called Herbivores. If that's not right, I'll have what it's called here. But you can just type in any name of any wine. It will tell you if it's vegan or not. It doesn't have all the wines in the system, but it has a good majority of wines in there. So, it's super helpful to know. Okay, I think it's time to deglaze. So we're going to take some white wine and add a half a cup. Deglaze that. I'm gonna add some more bouillon to the mix here. Get a nice hefty dollop. Not too much though. And then we're just gonna mix that in here. So now this is all deglazed. We're gonna add some water. So I'm gonna add 2.5 cups. Let's go ahead and add this. There's this beautiful dark color to it. We're also going to add our cashew cream that we made with the nori and the kelp powder. So let's go ahead and add that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our spices. So we're gonna do a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Come on now. The hand thing doesn't even work for me, you guys. I'm a horrible YouTuber. Well, it's smoked paprika, you can trust me. So let's go ahead and add that. And this stuff can be really overpowering, so just be careful. Then we're gonna go ahead and use half a teaspoon of thyme. It's getting really thick already, you guys. I don't know if you can see. There we go. Then cayenne pepper to taste, but usually that's gonna just be a pinch. I'm gonna add a little bit more because I like my spice. I have a bay leaf we're gonna add. You can see that going in. I'm gonna let this go down to like a simmer. Get it nice and low. It's thicken up really fast. I'm gonna add some fresh parsley. I'm gonna save some so I can top it with some parsley as well. This is looking really good, you guys. This is gonna go so good with the biscuits. So since this is almost ready, I'm gonna go ahead and blend this in my little ninja. If you want to keep it chunky, that's totally fine. Just make sure you don't get the bay leaf in there too, because that will just give it a weird consistency. So I'm gonna go ahead and actually take the bay leaf out right now. That cornstarch mixed with the cashew cream is such a good trick. It thickens things up really fast. So we got it all blended. Just go ahead and add that back in. Woo! It's like it's sneezed on me. Oh shit, that came out so fast. It's looking so creamy. If you've noticed, I haven't salted this yet, so we're gonna go ahead and taste it. So let's see how this is, and then add what we need to add. That's really good. I'm gonna add some more spice, and I'm going to add some garlic salt. Gonna add some pepper too. It really does smell like seafood. Those nori sheets really made it pop. Yeah, that's so good. So now that it's seasoned to our taste, we're gonna just turn this back up to like a medium heat. And then I'm gonna add my chopped prawns. But it's about it's about a 3/4 of a cup, so we're gonna go ahead and add that. And they're a little bit frozen, so they're gonna need to cook in this. So I'm just gonna let this sit for a few more minutes, and then it will be done. Look at these! They look so good. So excited. If you want to be exactly like the restaurant, you could also melt some butter, mix some dried parsley and some garlic powder in the butter, and then put it on, but just to save calories, I'm just not going to do that. But these look so good. I'm excited to try these with the Lobster Bisque. Look at that, you guys. So creamy. Let's get some more lights on this. Bam! That barely did anything. That looks so good. I'm going to just top it with some boo. I also eat all my soups with like Tabasco sauce. I'm probably gonna add that too later. But the spice is on point. Flavor is on point. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. I'm excited. I really like how thick it is. It really reminds me of a nice bisque. I was afraid it's gonna be a little too watery, but it's on point. That's so good. That's so nice. Ooh, it has a nice kick to it. Let's try it with the little vegan prawns. That straight up tastes like lobster. The consistency is so similar to like shrimp and lobster. It really completes this. Very, very good. I'm gonna try the biscuit. See all the cheese. It's all kind of hard to see. But that looks so good. It's nice and flaky. It's really like I'm at Red Lobster right now. I'm gonna dip this into the bisque. If you can only make one thing, at least make the biscuits, because super fast. You just need Bisquick and cheese pretty much, and butter. So really easy to make, so worth it. And it's 100% cruelty-free, so really excited about this, guys. Definitely give it a try. If you end up trying it, tag me on Instagram. It's the same as this channel, Gerard's Aisha, just no spaces. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.